Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with this channel or are watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have another YouTube channel, much smaller channel called Latina Diaspora, where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the Okay, excuse me. As always, I just want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel, whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined. I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do catch it live or catch it on the playback, I also have the link to channels from Dreaming of Reality and Golden Goddess, which they both create content pertaining to um, MRS and other mixed race issues. So I'm going to ask that you show some love to them. The links to their channels is in the description. Okay. So with that being said, tonight we're going to have another episode of open discussion. So for the benefit of those of you who are new, who don't know what's going on, what I would do is I will share my point of view regarding several topics. And of course, you, the audience, will have an opportunity to opine regarding each topic which I will discuss. Also, if there's anything that you want me to discuss, I will do my best to do so. Okay. Now, they might come across a topic where you ask me to address where I may not have a great deal of knowledge. I'm gonna show full disclosure and transparency when it does occur. So, and also I want to state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. So, should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding anything which I will discuss, they may do so. However, if I never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage and make sure that no one flashes anything inappropriate, which would cause the people of YouTube to take down the stream. And as I say, huge shout out to all of those who are currently watching on YouTube. Okay. And I a huge shout out to all those that may be watching the stream in Instagram. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin with the first topic, okay, which is for those of you who are not familiar, today is the first day of Major League Baseball. Okay. And of course, whenever a new season begins, there's always a great deal of optimism regarding what the teams will try to do, particularly when it comes to teams that did not do well last year. Because of course, most of us know the Chicago White Sox had the one of the worst seasons in modern history. I think they only won like 41 games out of a 162 game season. So that's not something to cheer about. Okay, and of course, some of you are fortunate that they actually attended opening day, and of course, there's always a lot of excitement, um, meeting the players for the first time and meeting new no players, and of course, at times, uh, the stadium is full of happy fans who want to cheer on their favorite baseball team. And of course, today the Yankees played the Milwaukee Brewers, and they won. I believe the score was 4-2. So today, the Yankees started the season with a win. Of course, the Yankees are the defending American League champions. Uh, and of course, unfortunately, they did not do well against the Dodgers. They lost the World Series in 5 games. And again, huge shout out to the Dodgers for playing better baseball. Okay. And of course, when you have no season, you have high hopes. Okay. And for some, the high hope is actually getting into the playoffs. For others, is to get into the World Series, and for others, is to win the World Series. And then you have some teams where they just want to have a winning season, particularly uh, if your team did not do well the previous year. So, and of course, day one does not make a season make. Okay. However, it can be a factor to whether or not a team does well. And of course, not only does a team need talent, but also teams need to be lucky as far as avoiding injuries are concerned. Because in a 162 game season, there's always lots of ups and downs. Also, you're going to have ball players that's going to be injured, okay, and sometimes the serious injuries that can cause them to be out of play for a considerable amount of time, or even an entire season. Okay, so hopefully, not too many baseball players will be injured, but time will tell. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is next week's schedule. Okay. So basically, it's going to be basically Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay. Um, so of course, I do 4 streams throughout the week, 3 from this main channel and 1 from my other channel. Okay. So as you can probably see, I have getting some of my channels set up for next week. Uh, Now, I have not picked a topic which I will discuss on my other channel, but I will prepare one. Um, Most likely I'm gonna go live on Tuesday. Okay. Now the next thing I'm gonna be talking about, now lately on TikTok, there's been a lot of what I call cringe videos. Now, why cringe videos? Basically, they're videos of people, many of them women, who, for reasons only known to them, have to get on social media and talk about their you know their trauma. They talk about their disappointments. They talk about their dating, what have you, and also talking about how you have certain ladies who are falling on hard times because they don't know how to manage their finances. Some of them don't know how to choose the right um, person to be with. And sometimes they make bad choices as far as who they allow to give birth, as far as children is concerned. Now, one thing I want to make this perfectly clear. Both men and women make mistakes. Okay. The problem is this. Now, I don't know whether it's for clout. I don't know what is for views. But look, I don't know about you, but why would I actually want to love videos, particularly on TikTok, regarding baby daddy trauma or baby mama trauma, the fact that the baby daddies, uh, Emma and missing in action when it comes to providing child support and being active in a child's life. Now, we do know that there are some women, and again, some who will make like impossible as far as allowing the absent father to see their children because some of them are bitter because they're, that they're broken up and then they move on and then they're dating um, other women. Okay. Now, in all fairness, okay, both sexes tend to make poor choices when it comes to dating, when it comes to having children. Okay. And it seems like in social media, there's this huge push to glorify single motherhood. Okay. Why is that the case? Uh, I don't know. I'll never understand it. Of course, I don't have any children. It never worked out that way. So it's a little hard for me to understand the why. But I mean, look, in my younger days, um, people will get married and then they'll have children, and then hopefully, um, people will have picked properly and correctly as far as who they want as a spouse. Nowadays, it seems like in social media, you have people glorifying single mothers. Okay. And let me just give you a perfect example. This is a video that's been seen a great deal on TikTok, which is a young lady. Uh, she is 23 years old, has 7 children from 4 baby daddies. And she's talking about how difficult it is to find a man that will take her seriously. First of all, um, why? Okay, first of all, now I get it. People can make a mistake. They can make one mistake or two mistakes, but actually giving birth um, to 4 baby daddies, okay, and then expecting a man to actually take you seriously, I don't see that. I don't see that's happening. Okay. Uh, Now, again, let me just state for the record that both sexes have made bad choices when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationships. I know myself, I made some bad choices as well, particularly when it comes to my ex wife. Okay. And one thing I've said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it again. When it comes to my marriage ending up the divorce, both me and my ex-wife were responsible for that. Okay, we both did our parts as far as letting the marriage fall apart. No, of course I did try to do what I can uh, to correct the issues within my marriage. Unfortunately, I did not have the full cooperation of my ex-wife, which of course led me to make the decision to seek a divorce. Now, I was fortunate in the sense that we did not have any children together. Okay. And the fact of the matter is, my ex wife was a baby mama. She has 2 children from 2 different men. Okay. Of course, I had strong feeling towards my ex wife. I love my ex wife. To me, I saw myself growing old with my ex wife and loving her children. It's just that unfortunately it did not work out. That is the reality. Okay. And I'm happy to say that I don't harbor any ill will towards my ex-wife. Okay. I did forgive her for her part of the marriage ending, and she has moved on and she married someone else. And of course, I congratulated her on her marriage. Hopefully, things will prosper between her and her new husband. But only time will tell, and only if she learns from the mistakes that was made. Not only when it comes to our marriage, but as far as relationships with the other baby daddies. And one thing we have to bear in mind when it comes to single mothers, not all are the same. You have some single mothers who became single mothers because the husband passed away or the baby father passed away. You also have some that became single mothers because they escaped a situation where there was domestic violence, physical abuse, sexual abuse, and things of that nature. And unfortunately, you have some women who became single mom, single mothers because of the poor choices that they made as far as giving birth to children of individuals that were not responsible. So there are many reasons, and you cannot paint all single mothers with the same brush. Now, the next thing I'm gonna be discussing is now in the near future, I'm probably gonna do a couple of reaction videos. Um, when I do not know. Uh, I don't have anything planned for next week. I'll probably do it the following week, where I'll give my appraisal regarding a reaction video. Uh, of course, we know that both men and women try to create reaction videos, and sometimes, but it seems like more women do it than men. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. So tonight's topic we're having is open discussion. Okay. So, and of course, Irby, if you have anything that you want me to discuss, I'll do my best to discuss them as well. Now, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is a phrase, as what's called, "It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness." Now, what do I mean by that? I've come across people who will complain, and complain about a topic or a situation. However, when it comes to actually coming up with a solution, you hear crickets. They just love to complain. And I've stated this example a couple of times, but I think it's worth repeating. I remember one time uh, yeah, you know what? I've heard about it, and let me tell you something. Um, it is unfortunate when people resort to burning Teslas and Tesla's dealership and things like that. Because what that does is, first of all, it takes away the credit. It takes away the fact that people are protesting. Okay. And the reason why for the protesting is because, of course, you have Elon Musk who's running amok. Okay, so basically, Donald Trump is just basically allowing Elon Musk to do whatever and create a lot of havoc. Okay. And we see it as far as thousands of federal municipal employees being terminated without justification. We also talk about how he's talking about comparing Social Security as a Ponzi scheme. Also talking about how much money that Doge save, which is the Department of Government Efficiency, only find out that it all lies. Okay. Now, mind you, he he has not been um, selected by the Senate. He's not been selected. Okay. He has not gone through the vetting process that other cabinet positions have gone through. So that's basically Donald Trump is just basically giving Elon Musk the keys to the kingdom to do whatever. Which of course that's why people are referring to him as President Musk and Donald Trump as Vice President Trump. And of course, he doesn't like it because of his humongous ego. Okay. But you know what? That's what happens when you allow uh, a person who basically bought you the White House, and now you he's basically stuck with this person. Because if he was to ever uh, decided to ditch Elon Musk, that means you lose access to all that money, and we all know how much Donald Trump loves money. Okay, he craves it. I mean, it's almost like an addiction with this person. And let me just give you a case in point. Okay, um, of course, every year in the White House, you have the Easter egg hunt, where they hunt Easter eggs and children go out in the White House lawn and try to find them. Okay. So what does President Trump does? He creates an environment where he has sponsors. Okay. So basically, if you are the type of person with lots of money, meaning any 80,000 to $200,000, you can gain a sponsorship to the Easter egg hunt. Well, and then what happened is you can gain access to First Lady Melania Trump and maybe get a moment with Donald Trump. Of course, the money is going to an organization, what have you, but it's really sad. Also, the fact of the matter is Donald Trump is now actively trying to sell Teslas because the sale of Teslas have gone down due to technical issues that the vehicle has, and also the fact that people are not happy with Elon Musk. Okay, and again, that's what happens when you give free reign to the village idiot. Okay, and of course, we have to deal with this for 4 years. Now, what may be the only saving grace is that the current administration is so incompetent that they may not be able um, to do a great deal of what they want to do, which is, of course, implement sections of Project 2025, which is to fire thousands of federal municipal employees and replace them with a bunch of the mega sheep crowd. Also doing away with the Department of Education, also doing away with Social Security, also doing away with Medicaid and SNAP. Okay. Now, is there fraud involved? Of course. Whenever you have uh, any type of services given to millions of Americans, supposedly based on need, you're going to have fraud. Okay. So, and of course, there was talk regarding giving stimulus checks of $5,000 based on the fact that those should save a huge amount of money. Um, the reality is that they have not saved much money. In fact, if anything, they may have lost money. Okay, particularly when it comes to the IRS, because when you lay off or let go thousands of employees in the IRS, that means you have less people conducting audits and less people, which means guess what? Less revenue is to be taken in. Okay. And the sad part is that all of this was discussed last year, where many people, and I repeat, many people tried to warn people this will happen if you have Donald Trump for another 4 years. And unfortunately, people did not vote uh, for their best interest. They just basically listened um, to the rhetoric stating that Donald Trump is going to bring down food prices. Donald Trump is going to make things cheaper. Donald Trump is going to deal with the crisis with the undocumented. So, and that has been uh, issues as far as ICE even allegedly arresting U.S. citizens simply because they have a Spanish surname. So we shall see. And again, let me just state, for the benefit of those who are just tuning in, tonight's topic is we're having open discussion. Okay. So now, so the next topic is better to light a candle. Actually, we're going to stay on the topic. It's better to light a candle than the curse of darkness. And what do I mean by that? If you're going to talk about a problem, it will help if you have a suggestion of a solution. Okay. And again, let me tell. I'm going to highlight the situation when I was on Radical's one lives, and there was this dude that was talking about how women in the Dominican Republic uh, resorted to prostitution in order to survive and make a living. Okay, because unfortunately, in the Dominican Republic, they don't have much. I mean, they don't have as much as big as big as a safety net as we have here. So of course, I asked this dude, okay, you don't like the fact that there are women in the Dominican Republic who are resorted to the oldest profession and engaging in adult recreation for money. So I asked this guy, okay, fine, you don't like it. What is your solution? And what I got from the guy is crickets. Okay. Let me make this perfectly clear. I'm not condoning any illicit activity, but one thing we have to bear in mind is that in a country like the Dominican Republic, and again, no, I'm not, you know, saying anything bad about the Dominican Republic. I have the pleasure of being there twice. It's a beautiful country. The people are beautiful. It's just that unfortunately, it's just, it's hard. It's they don't have as many resources as we have here, and unfortunately, you have women who have to resort to such activity in order to survive. Okay, and some of them, unfortunately, they're single moms because the baby daddies. walked out on them, abandoned them. So they have to do what they can to survive. So I truly believe that if you're going to talk about a problem, try to come up with a sensible solution, which is why I put the coin, I like the phrase, it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. Anyone can talk about a problem, anyone, okay? But let's think about coming up with some solutions, okay? And they may not be perfect, but at least try to think about some things that, to deal with the crisis that exists. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is called staying in your lane. What does that mean? That means, first of all, not getting involved in issues that it does not pertain to you, not getting involved in beefs when you don't necessarily when does not affect you. I mean, um, every now and then, um, there's always someone that has a beef with someone. For whatever reason, whether it be because it's just that my Wi-Fi is going a little bit, so hopefully you can hear me. Um, Now, one thing I usually do is that when people have beefs, I just don't get involved. Okay, because because it can get very messy very quickly. Now, sometimes people try to drag me into their beefs for whatever reason. Okay, which is why um, I discourage people from bringing their beefs here. First of all, um, if you want to go on about your beefs on your own platform, go ahead. Do it to your heart's content. When it comes to this platform, don't even think about bringing those beefs. First of all, I don't want to get involved. Second of all, at, at the stage of my life, I'm not trying to get into any trauma or any drama. We have enough people that are going out there acting silly and what have you, and trying to create trauma when it doesn't exist, or try to bring drama to people for whatever reason. Which brings up the next 2 points. Why does circus exist? Now, I have been talking a great deal about the circus, and people might ask me, what is the circus? Okay. The circus is my name for a collective of individuals who are unable to discuss items without getting emotional, without saying foul language, without bringing trauma, without trying to harass other people or dox other people. We have seen that many times. We also have seen content creators who have privated their channels because of harassment or because they've been doxxed, meaning that confidential information has been released in social media without their consent. Which is why, when it comes to being in social media, you need to be mindful of what you're going to say. And there's certain information you should never divulge here on social media. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have the haters or the ops, what have you. They're going to take that information and they're going to paint false narratives. People, I mean, they love to create false narratives. Okay. And one thing I've noticed that the people who do know the least about you are the ones that wagging their tails, their tongues, and talking about you, calling you every conceivable name other than being a child of God. I have been forced to hear such narratives, okay? And for the most part, I just ignore them because I might try to correct one time, but after that, if you want to continue with that false narrative, hey, there's nothing I can do. Okay. Yeah. And look, and what gets me is that they talk about you on and on and on. And what they don't realize, what they are doing when they do that, is they're giving you free press. Okay. Which is why, for the most part, when I deal with someone who harasses me, who paint false narratives about me, um, I just generally ignore it. It's not because I condoning what they're saying. It's that the problem is this: when you respond, then they're gonna respond to your response, and then you're gonna respond back, and then and then it goes on, and it never ends. And I've personally seen this where content creators go back and forth with the ops and things of that nature, and they feel the need to have to like lash out, what have you. Um, the reality is this: you just enable them to act inappropriately. So, what is the best way to deal with the circus? Ignore them. Yeah, ignore them. Um, Even the most insane person will eventually catch the message and then just move on. So the best way to deal with the collective is to ignore them. Yeah, ignore them and let them go around acting stupid. Let them go around painting their false narratives. Because the reality is this: people who know you know how you respond. That's the reality. And basically, what they are doing is they're making themselves more and more like a bunch of jackasses. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is retirement. Okay. Now, of course, anyone that's been working for any length of time, is looking for retirement, the day when they no longer work, where they get to enjoy their golden years, when they get to do some things that they didn't do before. Okay, and not, and of course I get asked that same question quite a few times. Jose, when you going to retire? My answer has always been the same. When it's my time, that's when I'll retire. Now I do have more or less an age where I will retire, and believe me, once I do retire, I will do some of the things that I never did before. I'm definitely going to be doing some traveling, and I'm going to try to keep myself as active as much as possible because it has been my experience that those individuals who lead active lives, they tend to live longer, okay? Because they're out there. Hopefully, they're enjoying the fact they don't have to work again. Also, enjoying the fact that they have such things as their pension, their social security, their 401k. Also, the fact that if they have children or grandchildren, seeing them, get become adults. Get okay, Pete. Thank you very much for stopping by. Um, so tonight we're having another episode of Open Discussion. So I have been talking about several things. Right now, the thing I'm talking about is retirement. Okay. Now, of course, everybody retires at different ages. Okay. Some people are able to retire when they are in their 50s. Other people, they retire in their 60s, and then you have some that work into their 70s or 80s. Um, I love my job, but I don't love it that much. I'm gonna work into my 80s. No, no. Believe me, when it's my time to retire, I'm going to enjoy my retirement. Yes, thank you very much. And I know that when I do retire, there's going to be a few people, they're going to be shocked. It's like, Jose, you're retiring? Yes, I am. Okay. But, and they're going to say, well, they didn't see it coming. But it's like, well, look, the fact of the matter is, there are many things that you can do once you retire. You can learn new habits, you can travel, um, you can volunteer your time, particularly if you want to go and volunteer your time and visit people in hospitals, which is always a good thing because you have people who've been in hospitals for a while, and some, unfortunately, um, they don't get to be visited by people. In fact, I was reading something in Instagram regarding someone that recently celebrated the 89th birthday, but unfortunately, that person is living alone in a nursing home, and that family has not bothered to visit um, that person. And let me tell you something, that is a huge mistake. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the reality is this, tomorrow is not promised to anybody. You could be alive today, and then later on you could be dead. That is the reality. Okay, which is why um, try to value the time that you have, and not only value the time, but also value the loved ones that you have in your life. Okay, because let me tell you something. Once they're gone, that's it. Okay, so that's why you try to make the most of every day. Try to be a positive influence in someone's life. Um, be a companion to someone in need. So there's one or two things that I'm going to discuss before I put this dream back. Um, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is what I call brain drought. Now, what is that? Now, sometimes um, content creators have difficulty trying to create content. Okay, whether it be because they're trying to find something new to discuss, or maybe they're not sure how to discuss something, or maybe they may be occupied with other concerns. Okay, brain drought is something that happens every once in a while. So how you do with it? Um, you can ask questions from other content creators, or what you can do is you can watch other content creators and try to give your own personal nuances regarding something that you see or something that you came across with. That's how you can deal with brain drought. Now, let me see. Uh, so, what I'll probably do is not next week, but the following week. I'll probably do a reaction regarding a video that I saw. Of course, I have to be mindful um, to give the person due credit, okay, and not spend an enormous amount of time, but have a discussion as far as how to prevent brain drought. So I have been talking for almost an hour. Now, my question is to the audience: do you have anything else that you want me to discuss? Um, Something that you are concerned about? Um, Whether it be the start of baseball season, okay. And I see here we have Don Armando in the chat. Good evening. Thank you very much for stopping by. So tonight is we having another episode of open discussion. So of course I discussed certain things. First of all, among the fact that today is the first day of. Okay, Now, is there any type of food that you want to discuss? Now, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. It's been a long time since I have any Dominican food. Okay. Definitely when the weather gets a little warmer. I think there's a couple of Dominican restaurants nearby where I live. So I definitely have to visit them and okay, um, you know, find some gocho, also platanos and things of that nature, and some other Dominican dishes, things of that nature. When it comes to spicy, um, I'm not that tolerant. I really don't like uh, spicy food too much. That's just me. However, I'm sure that those that are able to deal with spicy food, which is perfectly fine. Okay. Um, Now, I do want to try some other Dominican dishes. Okay. Um, Definitely. Okay. And also, there might be some Dominican beverages I want to try. I know that over the Dominican Republic, one of the big beers is El Presidente. To be perfectly honest, I'm not that big of a beer drinker. I might have a can of beer once in a blue moon, but not very often. Okay, it does that. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but definitely I would like to uh, try some Dominican dishes, and also definitely want to visit a couple of content creators. Okay, uh, I would love to visit certain people and then maybe do like a short video uh, regarding who I'm visiting, or maybe do a little blogging regarding where I'm visiting. Just something to think about. But I will say this, and this is something that I've said before, and it has to go uh, without saying. I really do appreciate all the love and all the support that I've gotten from my supporters, particularly within the last couple of weeks. I mean, just for example, just in this month alone, I've gained 36 subs, which is twice the number of subs I would get in a typical month. And of course, in one short that I did, that it actually generated almost 25,000 views, and it actually gotten over 1,000 likes, and I actually gained 12 subs just on that short alone. Again, I am truly, truly, truly humble with the amount of love and support that I've gotten. Have I made mistakes? Yeah, I have. But I try to learn from them in order to do better. And that's the thing. There's nothing wrong, there's no shame when you admit that you made a mistake and then you take action to correct. Unfortunately, you have certain individuals that are not able to do that. That they've been so much traumatized by drama, and they think everyone, the only way people are going to respond is through trauma, trauma, trauma. And that is not the case. I mean, people, for the most part, if you approach them the right way, you know, in a courteous manner, with respect, they're going to return that respect to you. So that is the reality. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, it looks like no one is going to accompany me on the panel. Okay. Which is perfectly fine. Now, let me just see what are the topics I'm going to be talking about um, next week. So on Monday night, I'm going to be talking about accountability, a Christian perspective. So I'm going to be talking about accountability as it pertains to believers. And then the next thing I'll be talking about is remote working for you. Okay. Now you have certain individuals who are able to work remotely, and generally they do well. Of course, not everyone can work remotely. I mean, first of all, because um, you have to deal with disturbances from children. And I see here we also have Lock Diaries. Good evening, Keshan. Long time no see. I hope that you're doing well. So tonight I'm having another episode of open discussion where I have been talking about several different topics and just opining regarding each one. And of course, the audience is given the opportunity to opine as well. And you have been missed. I will say this without a fact. Of course, we have now. Of course, we have to understand that everyone has lead active lives. Okay, there are certain, the certain things that requires immediate attention. Okay, yeah, you know what? That seems to be an issue with several people. And again, look, I have said this before, and I'll say it again. It's been, it's not just you're getting open up StreamYard and just stop to talk. You need to think about topics that you wish to talk about. Then you also think about the research, so you can come across as being reasonably intelligent. So it takes time, and it can be very time consuming. So obviously, there's going to be weeks where people are not going to be able to create content because they are basically on a what I call a YouTube sabbatical, meaning they're taking a break from creating content. Okay. But I have been fortunate, okay, and again, fortunate that I'm able to, to create content on a regular basis. Yes, we all need a break from time to time, okay? Because if not, there is a risk burning out. Okay. I would eventually take a break, maybe a week. We'll see. We'll see. And to be fair, um, the latest that I've gone through without creating content has been a week. But we shall see. We shall see. Now, in any case, I'm going to start to wrap this up because I do know that other content creators that are out there creating content. No, I get it. Look, I get it. Look, we all can use a break from time to time. We all need, to relax. We all need to disengage whenever it's necessary. So believe me, I get it. I truly do. Okay. Um, maybe like in May or whatever, I might take a couple of weeks off and not create any content. We shall see. We shall see. But in any case, meaning that no one's going to hit the link, I'm going to start to wrap this up. Okay. But I do enjoy the interaction. Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Um, you know, right now I'm at 562 subs. I would like to get to 600 maybe by the end of April or even May. Okay. But I really do appreciate it when people share my content. Okay. But in any case, huge shout out to all those in the chat. Also, huge shout out to all those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. And of course, I'm gonna. Oh, before I forget, let me just state yesterday was the 35th anniversary of the fire that took place in this nightclub. Um, and unfortunately, oh yeah, Happy Land. Unfortunately, um, 87 people perished from a fire that occurred in Happy Land because the only exit that was available was blocked. So basically, unfortunately, 87 people died, were burned to death. Okay. And all this stemmed from a person that went out with someone that worked at Happy Land and for whatever reason decided to set the place on fire and then block the exit. So people could not escape. Yeah. And you know what? And this is the thing. That's what happens when jealousy is allowed to, to flourish without being in check. Okay. And this is the thing that's even sad. Okay. So you mean that you are so upset because you're losing your significant other that to deal with it, you have to like set the place where she worked on fire, killing 87 people who were someone's father, mother, spouse, child, sibling, good friend, etc. And for what? Because they could not deal with rejection. With rejection. That's something we all have to deal with. We all get rejected from time to time. Okay. The ones that are mature are able to get by and able to get past whatever emotional hurts. But in any case, I'm going to start to wrap this up. Neither no one's going to accompany me, but I will say that, of course, I appreciate everyone watching this stream live or and who will watch it on the playback. And of course, the playback end, by all means, do your thing. Just keep it respectable. That's all I'm going to say. And of course, I'm going to close this the same way that I always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose McGrown. So I just want to say good night, take care. My sympathies go to the ones that perished during the Happy Land fire. So, and of course, enjoy your weekend. I'll see you all Monday, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So take care, good night, and peace.